Hi everyone, my name is Gary Bard. I'm the CEO of Steam Exchange. Hello again, and welcome to our scheduled bi-weekly AMAs. Today we will have myself, Neville Divecha, which is our president, and Viraf, which is our marketing and PR manager. At this time, Chris Beckford is away on a personal matter, handling personal things that he has to handle. He will not be joining us today on this AMA. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hand this over to Neville. Sir, the floor is
Perfect.
yours.
Thank you, sir. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the AMA. Definitely happy to have you here. This AMA is going to be a little bit special. We are in the last month of 2021, and quarter one 2022 is around the corner. So, uh, with that, I do want to give you a quick operations update, and I'll start with the biggest one, right? So I'll start with the elephant in the room, our LP. So our LP does unlock next month, but don't worry, we will be relocking it on a month-to-month basis until our platform is ready. So once we're confident that the platform is ready to go, we've gone through all of our testing and our audits, we will no longer lock the LP and it will be migrated to our platform. So till then, it will continue to be relocked. Uh, Scaling. So as you know, every AMA we keep talking about hiring new people. So this one's a little bit special for Viraf. We are scaling his team. So leading up to again quarter one 2022, the marketing push will be immense. So he will need help. Sorry, I was going to call you Anki Viraf, and we talked about this. So Viraf's team will be scaled out. We're going to be hiring a content creator and a full-time social media expert for him. So together with him and his team, they will be pushing full steam ahead with marketing in 2022. Uh, Operational, our learning modules. So learning module one, I did drop a little sneak peek in the chat about a week ago. It is about 60% complete. Once it is 100% complete and each of us get a chance to go through it, we will release it into the wild for beta testing and feedback, right? So we'll drop a link for you guys to play it. It is a gamified version of our learning module. So we definitely need your feedback on what your experience was like, and definitely tune it and get it ready for the rest of the modules coming for 2022. And the last update for me is we did hire another developer. He was onboarded, and his official start date was yesterday, December 3rd. So we're definitely growing. Our team is getting stronger and stronger every day, and you're going to see shortly from Gary. Our progress is all coming together and showing really well. So, with that, I will thank you guys again, and I'm going to hand it over to Vera for a quick marketing update.
Yeah, thanks, Neville. Thanks for the update there as well, guys. As you heard, exciting times ahead for my team in particular. That is, slated to scale. So exciting times there. But let's just do a quick recap. So we do have our YouTube push that essentially will continue over the upcoming weeks as well, right? So we did have a good response from the content that we put out there. We did so in different language optimizations as well, just to connect with our communities across the world. We had close to 20 videos that were released in the span of I'd say a week and a half to 2 weeks, and we did have a good response from there, right? So we are in talks with the wave of a few more influencers, and should have a couple of fairly large names dropping a video in the upcoming week. So just stay tuned there. And essentially for YouTube, it's also important to remember that this content stays out there forever, right? So it's going to compound on views. It's compounding on the search terms in YouTube's algorithm, and just in general about the amount of content on that platform around Steam Exchange. So it's a good thing for us. It's a win-win situation. So that's going to continue. BSC scan ads, we touched upon this in the last AMA as well, but we will be occupying the header text section ad for a minimum of 2 weeks. These will start in the upcoming week. There were a few sort of delays there, but we will get these started in the upcoming week. And again, this is an initiative that ties into the brand imagery and identity, right? As only a few credible projects that are permitted to advertise on BSC Scan. So keep an eye out there. Touching upon our radio ads, our first pilot campaign is likely to be pushed into the first week of the new year, just for a max impact there. If you think about it, radio traffic and just listener volume in general does reduce around the holiday season, right? So people are either with family, or they're traveling where and when permitted. So radio stations do typically see a drop in volume. So we are trying to make the most, sort of utilize this initiative the best, right? So it will be timed in the new year, and keep in mind we have two large radio slots and one TV slot, right? So these are all going to tie in and come into place closer to the exchange launch. And I'm sure many of us, many of you guys have heard us say this before, but on one of our radio ads, we will be played in between NHL and NBA games as well. So that's something exciting to look forward to. We are also evaluating outdoor signage and just billboard placement. And working through the process required to get these in Canada and globally as well, right? So Dubai being another prime location that we are interested in, and it's not just a straight up process where we send someone an image, they blow up a banner, and we get it placed. There are steps that go in. There are just the sort of regulatory hurdles around it as well. So we are talking through those aspects, and should have some outdoor presence in Canada and across the world set up in time for our exchange launch as well. Just then, I want to tie upon and say that our efforts, or sort of they are compounding just in terms of search volume around Steam Exchange as well, right? It's been growing considerably. So if you were active in the last 2 weeks or so, you would see that we were trending on crypto.com. We were trending across the front page on Coin Gecko. In the week from, what is it, 22nd to the 29th of November, I believe, we were number 8 in terms of search volume on Coin Gecko. So just take that statistic in for a moment, guys, right? And think through how early we still are. Number 8 in terms of search volume across the entire platform on CoinGecko. So essentially, if you did go through that list, you would observe that some of the names, plus the associated market caps that we were called out in, it is, we're playing in the big leagues now, essentially, right? So it has been more than 8 months in the making. This entire project, Steam Exchange in general, we're almost there. But in the grand scheme of things, guys, the journey is still ahead of us, right? So stay positive, keep the feedback coming, and I hope everyone stays healthy and well. So on that note, I'm going to pass it over to our CEO, Gary, for a couple of exciting updates. Stay tuned.
Wow, Enki, I think that was the quickest you've ever pushed that information. Right, guys, we have landed on a physical location. We're in the process of doing all the paperwork with the realtors. I don't expect it to take more than a month just because of the size of the location. There are a lot of logistics before we can show you guys. Maybe we could open the doors potentially a little bit sooner so people can start coming in and KYC for those who want to walk in on foot. That is a major, major, major uh, breakthrough in this space. Now, as you guys can see on my screen, the landing page, everybody thought that on our roadmap, the landing page that we had was what it was referenced to. It's not. It's referenced to this one. Ta-da! All right, let's refresh it. The video will change, guys. It's still work in process, work in progress. Sorry, I should say. But nevertheless, we are always transparent with you. So we'll even go in as far as to show you something that's not finished yet, but we are in development of and we're still doing. It's very self-explanatory. You click on things and they lead you places. It's much more informative, in my opinion. Easier to see, easier to grasp, much more appealing to the eye. Nothing you see here is the final version. It's all still very much evolving. Essentially, this is where we're at now. Once we have a more stable version of it, we will release it and still continue to work on it. Um, this is more geared towards being the final pre-release. So when I say final, it doesn't mean that it's final, as you know, it always updates, but final in the sense that this is closer to the product image that you will see once we launch. So again, just to show you guys and kind of showcase it, trustless swap. Might change the name a little bit, but essentially that's how it is. So the trustless swap is a swap that was demonstrated. Quick swap is where you connect your wallet and plug it in. There will be another button here for documentation wise. SteamX Pro is our advanced UI, which you guys saw to begin with, which we shared before. And then we shared this one, and we have yet to share this one because we're still working on it. This one is also still being worked on. They're actually all being still worked on, but some are done more than the others. You get a quick little description of which one does what. So you got the Trusted Swap, the Quick Swap, and the SteamX Pro. And these are all active links. We won't go into that now. They do work. Everything does work. Um, as you can tell, this side is not even finished yet. These will be in the bottom later, but nevertheless, we're showing you guys where we are and how we're progressing, even though it's not a finished product, right? So we have to give you guys something. We want to make sure you guys know that we are here doing stuff. We're not sitting on our hands and not doing anything. So, all right, let's get going with it. Trust us what. So if somehow you skip the main page and you went straight to this page, you will still be presented with a different landing page. We're thinking of nuking it and leaving it just with the main one, but we'll see. So for now, we have this right. Let's go ahead and sign in, and it's Gary. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna sign in. Okay. How you guys like my robots? We'll change it. KYC section details everything works. These do work now. Transfers and exchange. It gives you history and whatnot. This is still not finished. Again, we have developers and developer teams, different teams that are working on several things in conjunction. You'll notice that once I've signed in, these became available to me. So before you couldn't see the wallet page and uh, you couldn't see the advanced trading page, right? You could just see the exchange. So the exchange was simple. We've demonstrated this before. I'm not going to go over it again. You want to trade something without plugging in your wallet, it's this right here. Okay, so now we've done that. I want to go back to this. So if you skip this page, all right, if you skip this page, and this is similar to what you guys seen before from the advanced one, but if you skip this page and you click directly here, it would bring you to here, right? Which is our advanced module. You guys have seen this before, but now you're seeing how this connects. So whereas before you guys have not seen how it connects, now you guys are seeing how it connects and how everything is combined into one. Okay, guys. So just to show you what we've been doing, what we've been working on, I hope you guys like the way it looks. Once it's done, we will update the apps on both app stores and you guys will be able to download it. There will be a beta version available to select members or select few, I should say, that will be able to download everything that we've been doing so far.
And
Uh,
just to like kind of just like not reiterate, but just go back, right? This is all work in progress, right? So, all the time we've been saying, it's hard to show progress because it's all code, right? And that's still the case. Our back end looks a lot different than it did. A month ago or even a week ago. So it's continuing to evolve. As Gary mentioned, there's multiple teams working on things in parallel, right? I mentioned that we, just today or yesterday, we onboarded just another developer, right? So we're continuing to scale where we need it. And all these color schemes and whatnot, all that's going to be changed, right? This is all just, just basic at the moment. It's not about look and feel; it's about functionality. Sorry, Gary, continue.
Yeah, no problem. You are right. There's not much to say. It's pretty self-explanatory. I again apologize for one of our members not being here. He is away on personal matter, dealing with personal business. This is there's not much here. It's self-explanatory. We wanted to make it as simple as can be, as user friendly as can be, and sometimes less is more. If you look at some other websites, then they have this landing page that just keeps going and going and going and going and going. Yes, unit pages, meaning pages that have everything, like your entire website on one page, is the new go-to thing. But if you put too much into it, it ruins it. Because now you've clicked on something and it leads you to here, but then you have a thousand different things on the one page, and essentially you get this bar here that's like never ending. So we wanted to keep it simple. When you click on something, it's not too far off, and it takes you right where you need to be. Gives you a quick little explanation of what everything is. We wanted the focus to be on what we're delivering here, and let the platform speak for itself. Now we will be reevaluating as we go ahead. Everything is a work in progress, and we wanted you guys to, again, just kind of reiterate it. We wanted you guys to know where we are, what we're doing, and make sure you guys understand that no matter what else is going on in the world, we're still moving on, moving forward. If you guys remember, in the very first AMA, personally, I've always said that myself and my team will make this happen no matter what happens around us. Markets, the world, people, countries, lockdown, no lockdown, we will push this through because all that mumbo jumbo in the background is just noise, and noise is bound to end. And when all that ends, we will be standing here tall and strong. I think without further ado, let's go ahead and move over to the question period. If you guys have any questions, I will be unmuting people one by one based on how my list is. I'm not going to go ahead and repeat the rules. You guys know what they are. Please raise your hand up if you have any questions, concerns. It does not have to be related to today's AMA. It could be related to yesterday's Q&A or what have you in general. So hands up, everyone who would ever like to ask us anything about anything else or even this. And first one, Mr. O 07, go ahead, sir.
Hey, Gary, how's it going?
It's going all right. Thank you so much.
Good, good. UI looks amazing. I like it. I totally agree with you that pages that are way too long are overwhelming, and are like Binance. I find their app is just inundates me with stuff. There's too many things on the page, so yeah, I think that's looks really sick. Um, I was curious. My question relates to sort of the back end, and I know obviously the code is proprietary and your own. It's not something that you're going to share with the group. But I was just curious on, in terms of like maybe percentage wise, how built out it is, and how much of the upcoming quarter will be devoted toward like stress testing and stuff. Like, are we nearly there on the coding side of things?
Uh, Settled on something that we said, okay, this is what we want for the beginning, and we've stopped finally, thank God, adding things to it because otherwise it would have never ended.
Mhm.
Decided that everything else coming times would be in addition and an improvement. So our developers can finally take a back seat, take a rest for a moment, and say, okay, this is what we need to get done for this, and this is where we're going with it. So based on that, I'd say we're about 60 to 70% done on it, depending on what module you're looking at.
Okay, nice, nice.
And
And
just to
so,
add to what you said, it's not just the website, it's the apps too. The apps have to be simplified. I don't want to be looking at 40, 50 different buttons and know what they do. I want it
I can't
simple.
stand finance for that. Yeah, I mean, I look at that app and I'm like, oh my god, just get me my beans and get out of here.
I can't speak to that because I can't compare us to anybody else. We are looking internally. We are debating a solution for everyone so that people have somewhere to go to once Binance pulls out. Because everybody knows we're not going to be ready for January 1st. So internally, we have not settled on it. We have not even finished talking about it, but we are thinking about you guys. I just wanted everyone to know, to give you some sort of way to still get beans when you need to get beans for what have you.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Neville, did you
All right,
want to add
cool.
anything?
I'm good. Yeah.
I think that was really well said, right? So definitely, like, we always have you guys your interests best at heart, right? And that's how it's always been with us. So we did talk, like Gary mentioned, or we began speaking about it, and definitely the people of Canada who are going to, and not just Canada, actually, there's other places in the world that come January they're not going to have Binance to use. We're trying to find a solution for you guys as an intermediary until our platform is ready.
A reliable solution.
Correct.
Actually, I heard they're not continuing with their Singapore license as well. They're getting a lot of blacklists, man. They're heating up those points. All right, let's go ahead. The next person down on my list is, and I'm sorry, whoever forgot to mute their mic, please go ahead and mute your mic. Crypto Dog, you are next on my list. Go ahead, sir.
Oh,
Ma'am,
hi.
ma'am.
Oh, ma'am, my apologies. It's I can't, by the picture. You can't tell by the picture. My
Yeah,
apologies.
no worries. I have a friend of mine who's interested in the project, and I know he asked us in the chat the other day. He was saying because his concern was because it's a sex and a dex. Even though I have explained to him that Steam Exchange has already passed all the regulations in Canada and in any country that it's going to be utilized in. But he said, well, let's say like what happened in China, like crypto gets banned, and the same thing happens in Canada. If the central exchange is shut down, what happens to the DEX portion? He was saying it's one point of failure for the whole thing. So that's what I'm trying to explain.
So,
Get him
okay.
into
So, in terms of regulations, there's still licenses that we're working on. Our legal team constantly is working on. So, I can't go ahead and agree with you that we've got all of them. We have not yet. There's always more licenses to get. Our legal team is highly active on that. It's very expensive. Now, Canada is nowhere near China. It's in the sense that not either geographically, but obviously party wise, we're not a communist country. If I can say that.
Yeah.
Um, so the to expect the same result as China is highly unlikely, in my opinion.
Well, I think his point was if one portion of the exchange gets shut down, does the DEX part that doesn't require the KYC still function independently?
The DEX part will always function independently.
Correct. And like the whole single point of failure thing, and like the whole development process for us, the reason it took so long on the documentation journey and the planning journey is because we definitely didn't want a single point of failure. So we have multiple layers. Yes, it's all like the same backend, but they're all built into modules, right? So if one day Canada decides, which is not likely, to say, you know what, we're no longer a crypto country, it's just a matter of turning modules off, right? And the rest of the platform will still function. Actually, on the contrary, though, Canada is actually a pro crypto country in the sense that they are forward thinking and they do agree that crypto or digital assets in general are the future. And the thing is that because we are a democratic country, there's legislation in place, right? So even if they one day wake up and say, you know what, forget it, we can't do this, it's too much work, it has to go through legislation. And once it goes through legislation, there's still a adoption period, right? So we're looking at nearly a decade if Canada decides today that they would shut down crypto before it actually happens. So we're nowhere near that, and I think that we're in a very comfortable position. And the way we're developing our platform also gives us a lot of confidence for the future.
And
So
that
just make
still doesn't
yeah.
mean that you can't use it from any other country, right?
Right. That's what I explained too. So I could just tell them same back end, but built into modules. So if that did happen, certain modules would be shut off, but the decks would still be able to perform, and also probably the deposit, obviously the for deposit portion of the third part of it would still be able to be utilized independently of the central exchange if for some crazy reason that should happen where it
So
gets
so
big.
here's what they're worried for here legally, and here's what locally they're worried about. They call it the 404 thing. So 404 thing is essentially your page disappeared and your address does not resolve, right?
Okay.
Why they're regulating everything here is because Quadriga, if you remember back in the day, something that I was affected by, myself and actually Neville as well. Um, Quadriga basically went 404. They shut down and that's it. And that's what they're worried about here. So they're not looking at closing it; they're looking at regulating it more,
Right.
because they don't want it closed. They don't want people to close their doors and just disappear. And as far as I'm aware, in the world, we are the first ones that will have physical doors for you to walk through. So it's even harder to close those doors.
Right.
So we're not going to disappear. We're here to stay. We're here to make a statement. We're staying, and we want everyone to come.
Okay, great. Okay, I just wanted to find that out. I will relay that information. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And this will be posted later on YouTube channel, as I said before. And you're welcome to also drop him that link once it's available.
Great. Okay, thank you so much again. Okay.
Thank you for your question. Uh, I have an neck um, with his hand up or her hand up. Sorry. Go ahead. You are now allowed to ask any question you'd like. Okay, we're gonna move over to Spark. Spark, go ahead, sir. Spark, did you have a question?
I think he's trying to say something, but
Yeah, it
it's
looks
not.
like he's muting and unmuting his mic. Spark, maybe just drop and rejoin. Sometimes that helps.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep,
There we
we
go.
can. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just wondering, do you guys are you guys planning to hire any like third party uh, security company that audits all the code and make sure that before it launches that if they find any any security issues with the code that's been written,
Absolutely. I do think
it's
that's a
not
great
like
question for Neville.
So definitely, we're going to have multiple audits take place, right? So as soon as our platform code is complete, we're going to do our own little internal testing and make sure all the functionality is there. Once we're confident doing a handover, we're gonna hand over to a Canadian company. We haven't decided which one yet, but we are leaning towards one that is going to do the audit of all the code. They're going to come report back with all their findings. We're going to go back to development, fix those issues that they address. And once that's done, we're going to go into infrastructure penetration tests, right? So we're going to get actual hackers, both black hat and white hat, go ahead and try to penetrate our infrastructure, see what they find, and report back to us with their findings and how to fix it. We'll fix those problems, and then we'll be confident to go live. So there's going to be a lot of uh, I guess security testing before we actually are confident to go live. Uh, that is our number one priority, right? And no matter what happens, like whatever we put out there, it needs to be safe, right? Our motto has always been like a safe and confident trading environment, and that's not going to change.
There is one more, if I may add, something that NG8 people are aware. Some people are not. So I will not mention what this team of engineers did, but they are also going to be testing breach capacity on our servers, on our platform. They were contracted by a certain government in the world to penetrate and shut down a certain nuclear site. Those I grew up with, and they will be given a time frame um, assisting in the penetration tests for our exchange.
Correct. Yeah, it's going to be a very thorough testing phase for us for sure.
And second question was, in terms of the amount of traffic that the service can handle. Like I'm just making this up. Let's assume there are 30,000 people on the planet who are all trying to hit the exchange servers. Is there some kind of a stress test or something that will be done to make sure that it can handle the traffic, as well as uh, are you going to have like the service located at a data center somewhere in Canada, or on two different
So,
ISPs, and like load balanced, so that way the exchange, when something happens, for example in Toronto, maybe in
right,
the Vancouver data center, it's still
I got your
online, it can
question.
handle the load.
I got your question. So, we're looking into everything. Yes, of course, we will. How it's going to be structured will not be announced because we're not going to give anyone the upper hand into trying to break it.
Correct. Yeah, and like this, like you mentioned, right? And I was very impressed by your question. Like you mentioned, failovers and load balancers. Yes, so definitely like our infrastructure is going to be hosted in multiple locations. They're not going to be announced where they're going to be located, like Gary mentioned. There's going to be multiple ISP providers, and again, a lot of failover. uh, where we come from in our industries, like we've experienced a lot of challenges with load balancing and failure, right? So definitely we don't want that to happen in our own house. So failover, load balancing, it'll be there on multiple levels.
And that's without nefarious activities taking place. And as we know in the crypto space, we do have nefarious activities taking place. Just to speak to my little pool that I was running out of the basement, the Aeon mining pool, when I was running it out of the basement, I had the largest one in the world. People wanted to take me down. In my little basement, I had three different ISPs just for that. So you can imagine for an exchange, we'll definitely have redundancies built in.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, guys.
No problem, Spark. Very good question,
Thanks
as
for your
Neville said.
questions.
Anybody else, guys? Just put your hand up. Oh, we have 902. Go ahead. You're allowed to speak. Bano, am I saying that right? Bano 902, Nova Scotia.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can. Go ahead, sir.
Perfect. All right. Well, first, Gary, Neville, Viraf, thank you so much for putting this together. It's great. One of the things I've been curious about for a while is I know that when it comes to crypto, a lot of people will use it for like tax evasion and whatnot. And I know that you guys are FinTrack regulated. You have to report anything over 10,000. Now, what I was wondering is will there be anything to help us report our taxes, or will you guys be creating something akin to a tax return that we can download, kind of as if we were using like an investment brokerage in Canada, for example? Is there anything like that in the works, or is it something that's going to be left to us completely to choose to report or not to report?
So, reporting wise, Neville can fill you in after, but let me give you the basics of it. Reporting wise, you it's your due diligence to report it. What is our due diligence is under FinTrack regulations. So, whatever is there is what we're going to report. Uh, your question is like a three-step question. So, let me give you an answer about the convenience of it. So, the convenience of it is on your own reporting, you're asking me if you're going to be able to download your trade history. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Now, how detailed it is, we're still working on that, but we want it to be as easy as possible for everyone. So that's something that we will gradually evolve and continue to add into. Uh, but at the very least, yes, you'll have the option to download all your trades, and you can then do proper sheets and proper calculations to properly disclose to the government how much you made or how much you lost on the trading fees and whatnot. Neville, did you want to fill in the rest?
Yeah, so also like so not everyone is tax savvy, right? And not everyone understands how it works in your jurisdictions. So we did want to make it a little more simple, all the way to the point where a single point where all you need to know is the number. You don't care about the trade history. You don't care about what your profits or losses were. You just need to know what number to report to the government. So we are looking at ways to make that easy, all the way to the simplest way of in your profile just having a number there saying that this is your capital gains or your capital losses for the year. All right, and that could be a running total for the entire year up until tax season. Uh, there's other things that we've talked about as well, which I won't mention yet. But like Gary mentioned, our reporting modules, right? So our APIs and everywhere we can gather data from, the Block Explorer and whatnot, we want it to be as robust as possible, right? So um, reporting is like a fundamental for us in the sense that data means everything, and we're having such difficulties in the space, even just pulling data for our own charts and for our own holders and for our own token. We definitely don't want that experience to carry over into our platform. So reporting modules. Will be a strong focus for us in how we provide information to you through our APIs. So definitely taxes and whatnot is going to be an important step for you on the centralized portion of our exchange. So we'll make it easy for you to definitely understand where you stand as far as capital gains and losses go.
Perfect. Thank you.
And just to elaborate, so that would be like a little ticker going there for you. But for people, for example, and this is useful depending on where you are. But like for people, for example, in Australia, I know there they want to know exactly every single detail down to the penny. So how much was your trade? What was the price of the crypto at that moment? How much you traded for? How much are the fees per trade? They don't care how much you put in and how much you pulled out and what the difference is. They want the nitty and gritty details. So that is something, like Neville said, we're working on. But there's many other things that we won't go into. We just don't want to drag it along, right? But essentially, whatever you want, um, whatever you desire, will eventually be there. We can't do everything for launch because it's a never ending thing, right? You always want to add stuff and you want to improve on stuff, right? And we can't because then we'll have to push it back, and we don't want to. We're trying to avoid pushing it back. But what I said before, I really meant it, guys. We're looking for something so that when Binance is out of Ontario, you guys still have somewhere to get your beans that's reputable. And we will pick on that up next AMA and give you a little bit of a better understanding of what we were talking about. But we're really trying not to push anything back and make sure that everything comes out on time for you guys. All right, next hand up is Unicorn. Go ahead.
Hello. I just wanted to ask about the SteamX card. I was wondering what would be the requirements to get a card? Like, do you have to hold a certain amount of SteamX coins, or how does it work?
It's exactly as you said, but let me pass this along over to Neville to elaborate on that.
Right. So, thanks, Gary. There's going to be a double-edged sword here, right? So, one, yes, you would qualify based on your holdings, how long you've held it for and whatnot. But, sometimes, we want to make it easy to get some of those higher tier cards, right? Without having to, put in as much money. So we're linking it to your learning journey. So if you've completed all the learning modules, even if you thought you didn't need it, the requirements will change for you, right? And stuff like that. So we're thinking about a lot of these things, and we're looking at the long term effects of the cards and the benefits that come with them. And we definitely want as many of our consumers to have access to these tiers. Not necessarily just by putting in more money, right? And that's something we definitely understand with other platforms that offer similar services. We want to make it, less strenuous for you in the long term. So definitely stay tuned. We'll speak more to it later. These are some of the things that are in our Beyond Stage 3 roadmap. So Stage 3 ends with our platform delivery, and then Beyond Stage 3 are our upgrades and additional features. So stay tuned. We're nearly there, and just hang in there, right? And we'll get the information across to you.
Thank you, Neville.
Okay,
Great
thank you.
question. That was a really good question. All right, Patty. Patty, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, this is Paddy from Nigeria. Thank you
Hello,
for
Patty
having me
from
here.
Nigeria.
Thank you. I wanted to ask the way the platform is being designed, the Steam Exchange Pro and the DEX. Is it designed in such a way that if I have funds in my Steam Exchange Pro, after doing my trading, I'll be able to swap it back to my DEX, then I can withdraw it to anywhere, any wallet I wish to? That's my question.
Uh, that is correct, sir. It's essentially that simple. Again, let me see, Neville. Do you want to elaborate on this?
I think this is definitely your cup of tea. So go ahead.
Just making sure. Uh, it is that simple. There's nothing to be overcomplicated there. If you want to, you can go ahead and connect yourself, log in, and you'll be able to trade on the pro side. You'd like to keep it there, you can keep it there. You'd like to pull it out, you can pull it out.
All right.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
We're trying to
Thank
keep
you.
things as simple as we can, right? So we don't want to overcomplicate things.
All right. Thank you.
No
I'm
problem.
bullish. I'm bullish about Steam Exchange.
Thank you, sir. So are we.
All right.
Okay, there is a question. If you don't mind taking a look in the meeting room, not the meeting room, the AMA questions. Here, I'll forward it actually to the main chat.
1 second. I got it. I got it. Hold on.
Okay, if you want to answer that. That's from Waves Woody. He's in the
I see
chat, but
that.
he can't.
I okay. I see it. I'm gonna go ahead and read it minus that word right there. Uh, on the decentralized side of things, can you access coins to buy? You need native token also for the fees like BNB on Pancake Swap. So again, we can't compare ourselves to anyone else on the decentralized side. It depends on what chain you're on, sir. So if you're on the Binance chain and you're trading something from, for example, BNB to another thing, then you'll need BNB. If you're on our chain, you're trading something that you need SteamX for, then you'll need to have the SteamX. It's what the pairs are paired to, right? So when a project currently, as it is now, lists something on PancakeSwap, puts the liquidity there, it's whatever pairs they created. That's what you would need. Alternatively, the system, in some aspect of things, will automatically convert for you. So if you're trading it from something that is not paired, it will then seek out a pair for it and try and do the whole process, if possible, on the back end for you. But mind you, that would cost you more fees. Nevertheless, the result is the same. You are acquiring the token you initially wanted to acquire. So I hope that clarifies things. A little bit of a complicated answer there, but I hope you're satisfied with that. Mike, go ahead. 33, Mike.
Oh, hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, can you hear me? Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah. My question is regarding the swapping to native coin. So, because from what I've read from and I've read so far in the group is that as we are buying the current token, we are buying directly or indirectly the native token before the platform launch. So I was asking if like someone that is holding about 5% of the total supply of this current SteamX token. So is the ratio of the swapping going to be such that such person will be holding like 5% of the supply of the native coin when we eventually swap?
Okay, guys, let me clear this up one time. Okay, this is where we have landed right now. Whichever way we're gonna do it, forget where we landed right now. But I will tell you where we landed right now. Whichever way we're going to do it, we will do it in such a way that it will not give you or anyone else any financial gain over anybody else if you swapped within the first second or an hour later. We don't want to create any sort of shape, form, or way for anyone to financially gain from swapping over, because that would mean that the first person has the capability to piggyback on it and create gains just from swapping first. No, 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 no. So, where we have landed right now is essentially a copy and paste method where you just claim it. So, where if it's pre allocated for you and you claim it in the new blockchain with the new coin, and there is a certain period of time where if you don't, because we have to migrate over, if you don't, you will then be paid out either in BNB or BUSD for whatever your holdings were worth at the time. Now, the burn wallet, it will eventually be burnt. If we burnt it prior to migration, that would mean that the first person in would make money more than the last person because they would be able to dump. So we don't want to do that. Yes, it will be burnt when is unannounced. It will be likely burned way after the migration. This information is subject to change. This is not written in stone. This is where we are at now, and we are still looking at it as we go along. This is possibly going to change, possibly not. This is where we're at right now. But the main goal is there is no financial benefit for anyone that rushes in. There is no way for someone to make money by being first to swap. I hope that made it very clear. Neville, did you want to
Yeah.
elaborate on this actually?
Yeah, right. So, like essentially what Gary mentioned, so that the swap, time frame will be sufficient enough for everyone to swap, and beyond that, everyone's snapshot will be the same, right? In the sense that, the last known trading price was this. This was your holdings. This is your ratio. When you connect to the platform, you'll be presented with your swap, right? And no one's will it won't change based on what's happening with the market, what's happening with our chart or the native coin. Your holdings are your holdings. It wouldn't be fair if that was your snapshot and then the chart goes whichever which way, and then you enter at a disadvantage or an advantage, right, to other consumers and other traders. So it's definitely something that we put a lot of consideration into, and like Gary mentioned, it is subject to change. And once we do finalize that, right, once we have a final strategy on how to approach it, we'll definitely share it with you, even the timeframes and the timelines, and what will happen after the fact, after the swap window closes. So stay tuned. I know it's difficult. Everyone's on the edge of their seats, including us. We're always on the edge of our seats as well. It's a journey we're all on together, right? So stay tuned. Keep your heads up. The information will come.
Beautiful, guys. I
Thank you.
guess to remember, we always want to protect the community. So just keep that in mind. We will not generate a way for someone to benefit from nefarious activities. Okay, just bear that in mind.
Could
Now,
I ask a follow-up question to the previous
sorry,
one?
let me no Nora. Let me go ahead and take a person that has their hand up, and I will circle back
Sure.
to you. I promise.
Okay, no problem.
If you can kindly just mute your mic, please, sir. Thank you. Bojan, go ahead. Bohan. Sorry if I'm butchering it.
Oh, it's like a lie. It's all good though. I just want to talk again about the whole swap regarding how it's going to reflect. Um, what you guys are basically saying, it more than likely is going to be worth the price of the coin token at the time itself, right? So the only small worry I would have is like if people started dumping prior to, right? But and the other thing I want to add on top of that is like it would be, I don't know, it would be kind of almost nicer if we can have it close to the supply that we're currently holding, just because like especially some of us whales that are like holding the price, like we're not selling it or anything like that, right? So I just want to see what your thoughts on
So
that are.
Bohan, let me elaborate on it one more time. Imagine it's a copy and paste. So your chart continues exactly where it stopped. There is zero reason to create a dump. There's zero reason to create a pump. It just continues on from exactly where it left off. It's a copy and paste. Later on, at some point in the future, after the migration is complete, we will get rid of that burn wallet, thereby reducing total supply. But during the swap, we do not want to create any beneficiary entry point or exit point for anyone. So literally just a copy and paste.
Yeah, sorry, Gary. I guess that's not really what I want to get at. I kind of want to get at more like if I say I hold 0.1% of the supply, like when we swap, is that still going to be 0.1% of the supply, or is that going to be zero
That's
point zero
literally
zero
a
0.001?
copy and paste, sir. So the same amount of tokens, which means you'll still hold the same amount of total supply until we burn that wallet. Again,
So you're
if we
saying,
burn that wallet, you are now entering first, for example, and now you are entering at an advantage. You will then receive more funding if you dumped it, right? So we don't want
I
to
totally
create
agree
that
with
point.
you.
I'm
Totally agree
sorry?
with you on that point. I totally agree with you on that point. I'm kind of more saying like if I have 0.1% of the supply when I swap over, will it still be 0.1% of the supply?
Exactly.
Because
It
Exactly.
will
Yep.
be. That's the
So
idea of copy and paste.
yeah, so basically, like what's going to happen, or what can happen rather, is like once you swap in. So I guess the best series of events that I can give an example with is, the BSC token. The LP will be pulled. It will be moved to the platform right away, and then the swap protocol will be initialized. Right. So when you go to the platform to do your swap, uh, the considerations that are going to be in place is number one, a snapshot of all the holders and what their holdings currently are. Number two, the calculation between the difference of the BSC token and our native coin, and then what the ratio that you're going to receive is going to be, and that's going to stay the same for everyone. So just because we reduce the supply, let's say to like 100 million, for example, it doesn't mean that your holding ratio will it's not your ratio, sorry, your holding percentage of the total supply will change. It'll carry over, right? Because your ratio is going to be an equal value of the existing tokens. So yes, so if you're holding 0.1%, you're going to hold 0.1% in the new world as well. And then Gary mentioned the burn, right? So we have this burn wallet, and we have our contract address accumulating tokens. Once those are all taken care of down the road, and the reason we're not going to take care of them from the get-go, and we're not going to get rid of those tokens from the get-go, is to provide a fair opportunity for everyone to migrate in, and also for all the trading that's happening in real time, right? So, like Gary mentioned, there may be a pump because we're going to have an entire new world of investors coming in that's not in the BSC space, right? So, if we went and we burnt all the tokens, and then that's your new value, you come in with that value. The advantage you would have over those new investors would be too great. It would be an unfair advantage. So those burns will take place after the fact, so it benefits everybody. So anyone that's holding the native coin down the road, let's say when we close the swap window, we handle all the people that didn't swap in. We do those burns, and then everyone benefits from it at the same time. But your value and the percentage you're holding will not change between the BSC and the native coin. If anything, your percentage of holdings will increase after the burn, in comparison to the native coin, to the total supply.
yeah, that sounds actually really amazing. Because what I was kind of thinking that like you, so right now you guys are not holding any team tokens or anything like that. So when we migrate, is that going to change? Like, because is there going to be like a wallet set aside for like, I don't know, giveaways, rewards? I don't know, whatever you guys have to do, or put it, or given like, are you going to split the pancake swap into different, you know? I don't know how you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yep, yep. So the pancake swap is going to be gone, right? In the sense that the BSC token will no longer be tradable. It'll only be the native coin. So once that occurs, we haven't decided yet how we're gonna structure the tokenomics, not the fees and stuff, because there's going to be no fees outside of the platform fees for trading, but the distribution of tokens. We haven't decided what that's going to look like yet. There are tokens, for example, accumulated by fees sitting in our contract address. We haven't decided what we're going to do with those, right? So that's all stuff that's going to come down the pipe, right? The first and most important thing for us is getting this developed, right? Getting the blockchain ready, getting the native coin set up, doing all the integrations into the different modules on our platform, and then we can sit down, relax, and go through these strategies together as a team. But until then, like it's hard to say, right? Like it's how many are we going to reserve for future burns? Like all those questions are on our whiteboard that we're not even looking at yet, because at the moment the priority is the development of the platform.
Sounds good. Thank you.
For your questions, man. All right,
So let's
Kay.
go back to no tap. I had a question before.
Hey, Gary, thanks a lot. Yeah, so regarding the migration and the swap time frame, I know time frames aren't defined yet, of course, and I'm sure you'll update us once they are. But in the main chat a few days ago, or maybe last week, there was somebody who actually had announced like he's going overseas in the military and wasn't sure. So just if you could kind of like, I know I'm going to be watching this project from now till forever. But for people that are less likely to be or are concerned about not being available, could you just like let us know? It's not going to be days; it's more
Definitely.
like weeks
Yeah,
or
No,
for
no,
sure.
no, no.
months or.
Definitely, you'll have a sufficient amount of time to swap over before we say, okay, you know what? No, we're just sending out your funds in BUSD.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and also like there's also
Yeah,
extenuating
so it's not going to be
circumstances, right?
hours and
Like
days. It'll be.
exactly, and there's also extenuating circumstances, like that gentleman who was going overseas for a week, right? Like definitely he can reach out to our support, and we can find a way to work with him, right? So um, nothing is impossible, like we always say, and we always want to lend a helping hand, right? That's the whole point of the way we're structuring our organization. We want to be as available as possible at all times. So if you do fall into the category where you're not going to be actively available, just a matter of reaching out to us, either ahead of time, now, whenever you can, giving us a heads up, and we can definitely structure something for you or tailor to you. As Gary mentioned, the window for swap will be sufficient. We're not talking days, hours, minutes. We're talking months, right? We're talking, months where people can swap in. People forgot. Like we had a example of another project where this guy had pre-sale, for that project and didn't remember, and then all of a sudden, he cashed out his pre-sale. So definitely the swap window will be sufficient enough for everyone to swap in, and then at that point, after that fact, we'll handle it accordingly at the time. So if you do fall into that category again, it's just a matter of reaching out to us, sending us an email to our support at steamexchange.ca, letting us know your circumstances, and we'll work with you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Neville. And I do believe that within, like, let's just say 2, 3 months, even if you're away for 2, 3 months, at some point you do get an internet connection. You can go ahead and swap through. Um, Sorry, just a lot of background noise there. Assuming you're at a game, hard to hear you. We're gonna move over to Kay. Kay, go ahead, sir.
What's up, brother? Did I raise my hand by accident?
You did, but come on, now
You
you
did,
got to
yeah.
ask a question now, buddy.
No, 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 you
So,
have to. Yep.
sorry, bro. Sorry, man. I really don't have many questions with you guys, bro. I let you guys do your thing. I trust the team. And I believe in this, bro. But I'm sorry I had my hand raised. I might have touched it by accident.
That's okay, man. Always
No
good to hear your
problem,
voice,
sir.
brother.
Danny, Danny, how are you, brother?
Gary, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Not much, not much.
Hear me? You hear me?
Yeah, Danny, go ahead, Danny.
What's up, Gary? How's it going? How's it going, everybody?
Let's go in, brother.
Good, good. How are you?
Good. So you said we're gonna be frozen for a couple of months to get the swap going.
No, we're not frozen. Nobody's frozen unless you're in Canada. Then it's just cold.
Yes. So You said the process could take up to a few months to get, or we have the opportunity to swap for a
You
few
have the
months.
opportunity to swap for a few months before we send you your funds back in whatever crypto it came from, for example.
Oh, okay. So BSC is gonna be frozen, but Steam Exchange is gonna keep running on its own
Correct, yes. So we'll
blockchain.
just move over the liquidity and the chart resumes exactly where it stopped.
Okay, okay. I think I get it. I think I get it. I'm a noob, so you know.
It's okay, don't worry.
Our learning modules are coming, my man. Don't worry.
Yeah, and you don't live too far. I can come hold your hand. Don't worry.
All right, Gary, man. We gotta chill sometimes.
No problem. Call me.
Bye bye. Thanks for the answer.
No problem, Danny.
Guys, we have two questions from our main chat from Spark. The first one goes like this: essentially, are we gonna will the phone support and live chat being on at the same time? How are we essentially gonna plan to accommodate that volume?
So we will definitely ramp up, but I think Neville, that's is your kind of domain there
Absolutely.
for answer
Thank you,
that.
Gary. Yep. So as far as scaling goes, so Chris and I, we both worked together multiple times through our careers. One of which was IBM, where Chris was actually my team lead, and he ran a help desk, right? So he has strong experience in building out a help desk and support. And my role in end user services, throughout my career, is definitely something that we're going to apply those principles and logics to. So we're definitely going to scale out the support mechanisms. We're going to have enough help desk agents. KYC is a manual process. We're going to have enough KYC validators to handle the influx. That is definitely something that we have on our table and is already in the works, right? So there's a couple things organizationally that we're working on. Securing a ticketing tool, a vendor for like I mentioned, the ISPs. So there's a lot of things happening now that we have a physical location we landed on. We have an address that we can start directing things to. That's all going to come together. So scaling the help desk, scaling the support team, both for internal and external uses, is gonna be a good effort, and there's going to definitely be enough support to go around for everybody with the right KPIs and the SLAs. If you're from that world, the
Oh
service level
no, no, no. Keep
agreements.
it simple. Keep it simple.
Right, so there's definitely going to be requirements from our employees as far as guidelines and principles, timelines for when to deliver things by, how to manage severities. So all those things are going to be built in into our modules and into our platform and our ticketing tool. So definitely there's going to be enough help to go around to make sure that the support is there, especially in the beginning.
And we may open up the KYC process prior to the exchange just to make sure that there isn't a big backlog to work through and you're not sitting there waiting for an extended period of time for your KYC process to be verified, right? Like other platforms. So we're looking into we're looking into that avenue as well.
Great. So the second question goes like this: is essentially around a non-competition clause. So because we are growing and hiring more developers, is there anything in place to stop them from stealing our code and essentially going to competition? We are going to have a hybrid exchange which no one else has. So I wonder if a developer can learn that at Steam and take that to another company.
Of course they can, and they will be dealt with once they do. In their when they get hired, and this is you know what? No, go ahead, Neville. You can yeah.
Yeah, so the onboarding process for us is multi-tiered, right? So the first step is, of course, we send them their offer letter. They accept it, they negotiate whatever they have to do. Once we come to terms, they get an employment agreement. So in that employment agreement, there's two steps, right? There's the NDA portion of it, and then there's the agreement portion of it that outlines your employment with Steam Exchange, and also outlines the terms and conditions. So both in the employment agreement and the NDA, there's a non-competition clause, right? So there's you can't work. So once you agree to work for Steam Exchange, you can't work for a like industry or a like competitor for 5 years after leaving Steam Exchange. And that goes for our developers, it goes for our HR, it goes for our legal, it goes for our accounting, what have you. Any of the departments that we have through Steam Exchange, because like we mentioned, we are a corporation and we do function as such.
That's sorry, Neville. That's on top of the
Yep.
proprietary intellectual
Yep.
knowledge.
Yep. and then we have the proprietary information clause, right? So if you are a developer or you're working closely with the development team in any capacity, even our future executive assistant, for example, they would be signing a proprietary information clause as well, that says that the information you've gathered, heard of, or been given by Steam Exchange stays at Steam Exchange, all the way down to assets and intellectual property. So we're definitely protected in that sense. Our legal team is very strong. They've been in not the crypto industry, but they've been in the industry for a long time, and the way they've drafted all these documents are extremely, extremely thorough. So we're not worried about employees going rogue and selling our information. There's severe, severe consequences if that ever happens.
Perfect. Perfect. That's a great answer, guys. There's another one in the chat from Max. I guess this one is for Gary. He's saying, can you tell us a little bit more about the location we have narrowed down upon?
Sure. So it's in the Concord Vaughan area. It's fairly near the 407, Highway 7, and 400. It's in that area. Won't give you an exact address until it's all set up and ready to accept people through the doors. But once we are, then we'll definitely publicize and make it public, update it on the website, even go as far as putting it on the business cards. In
I
rush
still
hour,
have,
it's less than 15 minutes, right?
yeah, which I still
So
have
let's.
all your business cards hostage. Sorry, Gary.
Oh my God. On your way home, please meet up with me and drop you mine. I have an enormous amount of people waiting for them.
Sure, sure. I'm holding them hostage until I feel ready, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm joking. Yeah, I'll
Uh,
give them to you as
I'm
soon as possible.
I'm gonna make sure you feel ready real quick. Good question.
Perfect. So there is another one in the chat by D Crypto Nightly. They say, as far as KYC is concerned, will there be any countries or states that you guys don't do business with? For example, there are a few exchanges that do not do business with individuals from the US.
Correct. So we will not be doing business with North Korea.
Good joke.
All
Look,
right.
it's a, it's definitely there's some places in the world where we just can't operate, right? And that's not about regulation. It's more about law, right? So their laws prohibit it. We are working through a list of those countries to put together for you guys. So if you do fall into that classification, it doesn't mean that you're out of luck. It just means that we're gonna have to cater a solution for you, right? And that's something we have in our back pockets as well. In the event that these countries don't turn around by the time we go live, there's still options for you to utilize Steam Exchange without circumventing laws and getting yourself in trouble. So definitely stay tuned for that. Once more information around that gets put together, we'll definitely highlight it for you. The first step for that is definitely, putting together a list, and the list is not too long so far, which is good news. But again, we're not done with our research. So as soon as that's done, you guys will know.
Beautiful, guys. All right. I think this will conclude our bi weekly AMA as far as the recording goes. I do have two meetings pending still, believe it or not. And yes, on the weekend, we do still work. This never ends for us. We do thank you guys for being here. Neville, when you said ingredients, I think you're just hungry. Um,
Yeah, I am. I
uh,
have my wife picked up sushi on her way home, so it's just waiting for me inside.
okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now I know what I'm having for dinner.
No problem.
All right, guys. Everything will be uploaded in due time. We're gonna aim it for today, if not tomorrow, including yesterday's session. We're just working out the little nitty gritty, visual little videos that go in the front. Nothing crazy, nothing exaggerated, just very basic. We all want to say thank you for being here, for supporting us here at Steam Exchange. Full steam ahead. Thank you, and we'll see you guys on the next one.